Shavua Tov. I would like to wish you, to all of you, a good week. The parasha of Hayisara after the sacrifice that Abraham did, even though that there was no sacrifice, but we consider like it was a sacrifice. Because Abraham Avinu, really he went to do it. He did not know that it was a test. So for Hashem it was like it was done. My friend, the Torah mentioned that the parasha of this week, ותמות שרה בקריית ארבע היא חברון בארץ כנען. Sarah died in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. So there is a big rabbi, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, alav shalom. He asked a question: why the Torah said Eretz Canaan? I mean, like if we talk about New York, we know New York it's United States. We know that Paris it's in France. If we talk about somebody who died in Paris, we know that it's in France. If we talk about somebody who died in New York, we know that it's in United States. So why, when the Torah said that Sarah, she died in Hebron, we know that Hebron is the land of Canaan. So why the Torah mentioned Eretz Canaan, Be'eretz Canaan? Why? I mean, this is the question. And the second question, that Abraham Avinu alav shalom, when he heard that Sarah died, so he came to libchot v'leaspid. He came to do to cry. And to do a hesped. Hesped is like the darush when you talk about somebody that passed away. You know, a lecture about talking. You know, what we miss, what we lost. You know, this is something that we want to understand. Just to so this is what again the question is. You know, Vilipchota, and he came, that as the Torah said, that Abraham Avinu came to cry Sarah. But the way the Torah talk about to cry Sarah, it's me like to cry just a little bit, not a lot. So again, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef alav shalom asked a big question. He said, after all, Abraham Avinu, I mean, he lived with Sarah. I mean, he lived with her. He lived with her over 100 years. And she was a big tzaddiket. I mean, Sarah, she was a big tzaddiket. So how can you cry for a big tzaddik only a little bit? So he asked two questions. The first question is, why the Torah mentioned that Sarah would die in Hebron, in the land of Eretz Canaan? We know that Hebron is in Eretz Canaan. So what the Torah write Eretz Canaan? So the question is that Abraham came to talk about Sarah, to do a hesped, you know, and to cry a little bit about Sarah. To cry a little bit, she was a big lady. she was more prophet than him. She was a big lady. I mean, all what Abraham Abinu couldn't be what he was without Sarah Imenu. There is always, can you imagine? Abraham Abinu, he made known Hashem all over the world with the merit of Sarah. If she was not Sarah to help him, he couldn't do nothing. She could stop him doing, don't do that, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. No. She let him, not only she let him do whatever he wanted to do for Hashem, but she was helping him as well. So he came only to cry a little bit for her. It's a beautiful question. My friend, I would like to explain to you a few things. You know, the greatness of Abraham Abinu alav shalom was incredible. First, after the Akedah, after the sacrifice of Yitzhak, he was very sad. That just after the Akedah, he heard that his wife should die. Please, just imagine how many promises Hashem promised to Abraham. He promised Abraham, you're going to have children. Then, from that child, I will build up a nation. I will give them the Torah. The name of God will be related to them. And I will be with them. They will serve me, I will serve them. And I will give them this land. Eretz Canaan. Okay? And then here's the first test came. Hashem is to Abraham, take your baby. Sacrifice him. No objection. He does. He did not even ask questions. What about my descendant? What about the land that you promised me? So, there is no children, there is no land, there is nothing. There is nothing. Hashem accepts. No question. After Hashem said, oh, Abraham, stop. Don't sacrifice your son. Thank you, Hashem. And again Hashem said to Abraham, because you did what you did, now you showed me how much you love me. Now you showed me how much you fear. Yerishamayim, you fear Hashem. I will be with you, I promise you, I give you this land, Then, another problem. He heard his wife die in Hebron. And there is a problem. Big problem. When he's going to bury Sarah? Eretz Canaan. This is the land that Hashem promised him. So if the land Hashem promised him the land, so it's his land. But Hashem, he told him one day, not for the moment. This is your land, but not for the moment. It's a big test. Not for the moment. Now he's Sarah. She died because of the sacrifice. And now he has nowhere to land to bury her. He don't know. He feels like a residence, not a residence, a foreigner. On one hand, Eretz Canaan, it's his land. Hashem promised him, but it's not his land. He has a problem. Even his wife, he has nowhere where to bury her. That's why the Torah said that Sarah, she died in Hebron, in the land of Canaan, this land that's supposed to be his land, and it's not his land. And he has a problem where to bury her. Again, a test. And he had to buy a piece of land, of the land that belonged to him. Look how tzaddik was Avraham Avinu. Can you imagine? Even that the people told him, look, this is the land, it's your land. Do whatever you want to do. He said, no, I'm foreigner. I'm foreigner here. Okay, I am resident, I live here, but I am stranger here. What stranger? It's your land. Yes, Eretz Canaan, it's not mine. Look what, it's a test. You know, the tzaddikim all their life, that's why the Torah said, Abraham zaken ba bayamim. Abraham Avinu alav hashalom, even that he was an old man, all his life, he did not miss one day from serving Hashem. Even when he was an old man, he never asked question. Can you imagine? He could think, my wife, she died because of the sacrifice of Yitzhak. And now she died. And she died in a land that Hashem promised me. It's Eretz Canaan. It's mine. And it's not mine. And I have to buy a piece of land to bury her. He could ask Hashem, why you do that? He don't ask nothing. Not only he don't ask nothing, he buy the land cash. Without, and the piece of land that he bought, it cost him a lot of money. Because Ephron, the one who sold him the land, he knew that Abraham, he wanted that land. So any price that he will ask him, he will give it. Can you imagine? Abraham Avinu alav hashalom, after the sacrifice of Yitzhak, now he was happy. Now I'm going to go home with Sarah to prepare the marriage of Yitzhak. Both of us, we will marry them. Not only he did not marry Yitzhak together with Sarah, his wife, but he heard the bad news. Sarah passed away. Not only passed away, now he came to cry. Sarah Imenu. But he did not cry a lot. He cried a little bit. Why didn't cry a lot? Because he wanted to show people that he accepts all what Hashem is doing. And if he cry a lot, people will think that Abraham is crying a lot because all the promise that Hashem promised him, no promise came true. Hashem promised him to give him the land of Canaan. He had to buy a piece of land. I mean, he has a deception. He's not happy. So that's why he came and he talked only about the goodness of Sarah without crying a lot. Because if you cry a lot, people will understand other things. Because people will think Abraham is crying, yes, because all the promise is disappointed. All the promises that Hashem promised him, none of them come true. One day tell him from the descendants of Yitzhak, you will have I will build up a nation, and then he tell him, I sacrifice him. Then he tell him, I give you the land of Canaan, and this land of Canaan it doesn't belong to him. And even to bury his wife, he has a problem. He had to buy a piece of land. And that's why Abraham Abinu was a big tzaddik. What a tzaddik he was. What a tzaddik he was, Abraham. He showed people that Sarai Menu, she was a big tzaddiket. He talked only about the good things that she did. And he cried a little bit, because it's his wife. But he did not cry a lot because he was worried that people will understand that he cried a lot because he is disappointed, because he's not happy. Not because the pain that he has is about his life, but about something else. Even a piece of land to bury his wife he doesn't have. Look this effort, take opportunity to sell him a piece of land full of rocks that it's not worth nothing, and he asked millions for that land. Abraham Avinu, he showed that still he believes in Hashem. He has no problem with Hashem. And all what Hashem wants from him, he accepts. No problem. And I would like just to tell you something. How much Avraham Abinu was a big tzaddik. The Torah said that Vashem berech et Abraham bakol. And Hashem, he blessed Abraham bakol. Bakol, that means Gematria ben. Bakol, it's like Bakol, that means that Hashem give him a baby. That means, so the question is, why the Torah mentioned that that Hashem, he blessed Abraham with a baby? I mean, why this pasuk should be up? Why now? Why the Torah? What we have to learn from this pasuk, from this verse, that Hashem, he blessed Abraham bakol, that means he blessed him with a baby. Why? You know why? Because Abraham Avinu alav shalom, so much he was tzaddik that even if he would sacrifice his son, and now he will have nothing, he was still happy that Baruch Hashem, Hashem give him one baby one time, and he did to him the Brit Milah, and then he did him a sacrifice. He sacrificed him to Hashem. Even that after that sacrifice, and after the death of Sarah, because of the sacrifice, and the sacrifice of Yitzhak, even that, Abraham will be very happy that Hashem give him one day one baby, that even that now that this baby does exist, he will still remain happy that Baruch Hashem, Hashem give him a baby, and he did for the baby what Hashem wanted for him to do. Who can do that? Who can do that? That was Avraham Abinu. That was Avraham Abinu, was a big tzaddik. Cannot imagine. I'm so proud of Abraham. We learned a lot from Avraham Abinu. We learned that never ask questions. Can you imagine today, if somebody promises us a promise, a donation, and he don't give it because poor man, he lost his money. All the time we may say, why this man, he promised me, he didn't respect his promise, ba 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 ba. You know, my friend, there was a wedding this week. So I didn't go there because it was not snowed. So somebody called me. He said, well, the Shabbat was good, was tzanua, was fabulous, and everybody asked about you, why you didn't come. And I said, what about the reception, the wedding, the Shabbat was tzanua, okay, but what about the reception? What about the simcha, the how it was Tsanua. I know, I heard he had big singers that they came from America, singers from Canada, and it cost a lot of money. The singers are dancing, mix. So, was it tzniut? So they said no. So what the meaning of tzniut on Shabbat? On Shabbat, it's Shabbat. The tzniut, it's when you do a wedding, kosher, from the beginning to the end. This is tzniut. We see about Abraham Abinu alav shalom, the way he served Hashem. It was incredible. It was incredible. You know, my friend, when the Torah mentioned I would like just to talk to you about Sarai Imenu, because this parasha, it's Hayi Sarah. Can you imagine? The Gemara said that when Sarai Imenu was alive, there were a lot of miracles in her house. There was the bracha and the challah, when she make bread. There was a bracha there. There was a bracha on everything, the food. There was the when she used to light the candles of Shabbos, they remained, on. And then she had a clown outside her house. And that clown, that from wherever you are, when you see that clown, you know that this is a house of Abraham. So it's like a direction to go direct to the house of Abraham. There you can find whatever you want to eat. Abraham Abinu was very well known that he welcomed people, a free hotel, a free food, free restaurant. No, nothing. He do chesed. Why he did chesed? Because he wanted to talk to people about Hashem. He wanted to approach people to Hashem through food. Whatever you want, get it free. In the meantime, he used to talk to them about Hashem. He took the advantage. And Sarah, she was the same like him. And when Sarah died, there was empty tent. No bracha, no one to bake. People stopped coming because there was nobody to bake, to cook. And Abraham Abinu alav shalom, he was sad. He lost his wife. Look at me. And then Abraham decided, well, we have to rebuild the house with a new wife. If now we need Yitzhak to get married, to take over what Sarah left. And then Rivka came. And when she came, everything came back again. And the joy, happiness came. Because a house without a wife is not a house. A man without a wife, a man that is not married, there is no happiness. And without Torah, a house without Torah, there is no happiness. The real happiness came when there is Nida, when the wife respects Mikveh, Shabbat, and when there is a real happiness. You live according to the Torah Kedusha. You build your house. You build the Judaism with you. When Yitzhak married Rivka, everything came back again. And the joy came, the happiness came, everything came back again. That's one thing I want to tell you. It's how can you imagine when Sarah Imenu died, and this is very important for me to tell you this, just to tell you that Avraham Abinu alav shalom, to lose his wife, it was a disaster, terrible for him. All what he did it with her during 127 years. of living. All her life. All the life of Sarah was a life of Torah. Life, a full life. Never she did a sin. She was beautiful. She was prophet. And she had two names. One name, Yischa. Yischa from the word prophet, or from the word that everybody came to look at her beauty. And there is a famous question. How can you understand? How can you understand that Sarah Imenu, she was on one hand beautiful, and people they come to see her beauty, on the other hand, she was tzanua, tzniut. She was in the tent. On the other hand, she was prophet. I mean, what kind of compliment it is? It's a good compliment that people come to see a beautiful woman? No! The real compliment for a tzaddiket, it's when we talk about she's tzaddiket, she go to do good things, she teach people Torah, she teach people to be good people. But, I mean, how? Rashi said that all her life were equal. I mean, even when she was 7 years, she was a tzaddiket. 20 years, she was a tzaddiket. When she was 100 years, she was a tzaddiket. She was pretty, she was beautiful. I mean, why we mix beauty, the beauty with her good actions? This is a question that he asked a book, Amarot Tehorot. He asked this question because Rashi said, "Bat kaf kebat zayin liyofi," the same that she was beautiful when she was 7 years old. She was beautiful when she was a 20-year-old. Always she was beautiful. And then, she never did a sin. So the question is, to reach a perfection of beauty only when you are 20, not when you are 7. So what does that mean? The same way she was beautiful when she was 7 years old, she was beautiful when she was 20 years old. It's not the same. A baby of 7 years old, it's a baby. A real beautiful girl when she's 20, not when she's 7. That's the first question. But the second question is, can we talk about a tzaddiket, about why she had two names, Sarah and Yiska. Sarah because she was a princess, Yiska is from Ruach HaKodesh. She was prophet. Is the meaning of prophet, or people they came to see her beauty. I mean, why? So, and the Torah mentioned that Sarah Imenu, she was very beautiful. Is it a compliment for a big tzaddiket to talk about beauty? Even Moshe Shlomo HaMelech, he said, "Sheker Rachel ve'Evel Yufi." The beauty is nothing. The most important is to fear Hashem. The Gemara said, Rabbi Yitzhak, he said, why Sarah, her name was Yiska? Sachta istakla beruach HaKodesh. Because always she was a prophet. Why her name was Iska? שהכל מסתכלים ביופיה. Everybody look at her beauty. It's incredible. A beauty. Can you imagine Abraham Abinu? People knock at his door. They want to see his wife. They want to see her beauty. But it's not a compliment. My friend, I would like just to tell you what I was thinking. I was thinking that Abraham Abinu alav shalom, he built his house, a house of Kiddusha, a house of holiness. I remember when I was young, I was in Morocco, and I remember how much, once I was invited by some friends, and I did not. I remember I used to eat, and I never saw the wife of the man who invited me. She never sat with us. And she was very tzneut. She was very shy. She didn't want that people look at her. She knew she was pretty. And she did not to listen to compliments. She didn't want that people would tell her, "Oh, you're pretty, you're beautiful." And I admire that family, that really they did what they did. They fear Hashem. On one hand, Sarah Imenu, she was prophet. On the other hand, she was beautiful, and people give her compliments, and people they want to see her. How do you understand this? On the other hand, the Torah said that Sarah Imenu, she was always in the tent. She never go out. I was thinking that was the greatness of Avraham Abinu and Sarah. Now we understand why Avraham Abinu, when he lost his wife, he knew he lost a big woman, a big tzaddiket. Now we understand why he came to cry and to give some good words about his wife. Because Abraham Abinu alav shalom, he saw that the way how Sarah Imenu acts to bring people to Hashem through her beauty. The woman, they came to look at her beauty. When they came to look at her beauty, she served them. She sat with them. And she talked to them about Hashem. She gave them a good influence. First, those people, they were so shocked about her beauty. And then, instead of that woman to be outside, to take advantage of her beauty, that people will give her kavod, glory, she don't want to see, she don't want to go out. She only, all what she wants, to catch people, to talk to them about Hashem. She used her beauty for Hashem. It's like me, David Pinto. I use my name. I use the name of my grandfather to help people. I mean, if my grandfather, alav shalom, if I was not the grandson of my grandfather, I will have less influence on people. But because my grandfather was what he was, so I have an influence because I talk to them, I tell people with the zechut, with the merit of my grandfather, do this, I will help you. Because I mentioned the zechut of my grandfather. But if I don't mention the zechut of my grandfather, if I was not the grandson of Rabbi Chaim Pinto, how can I promise to somebody with which merit I can promise? But because I promise with the merit of my grandfather, Rabbi Chaim Pinto, so people they listen to me. So it's the same with Sarah. She used her beauty to take advantage of her beauty to bring people, to teach people how to fear Hashem, to teach them emunah. And people they said, if that beautiful woman, she believed so much on Hashem, and she believed on Hashem, so it's true. I mean, instead of going out and wearing modern clothes and do whatever she wants to do, instead of that, she doesn't do nothing of that. Always she only in the kitchen taking advantage of her beauty to help people, to serve people. So that means always she's saying it's true. That now you understand what the Torah mentioned, that she was beautiful. She was a prophet. Yes, she was a prophet. And she used her prophecy only for good things. The same way that she used her beauty for the good things. There is people who use their beauty just to get glories, so that people will talk to them. Look, there was a woman that everybody said that she was beautiful. And so I told her, tell me, people say that you are beautiful. I did not look at her. It just because her husband, he told me that she's beautiful, and she take a lot of makeup. And she said she don't need. And it's Sahara. I mean, she don't need. I mean, she attract people to look at her. So he told me to talk to her. So I told her, Madam, your husband said that you are beautiful. She said, yes, that's what people think. So I said, so why you have to add the makeup, more makeup? So she says, I want to be more beautiful. So I said, more beautiful for who? For people? You're not allowed. You want that people will talk about you, what a beautiful woman you are? Do you need that? Why do you need it? It's a avera. Why you have to להכשיל בני אדם? Why you have to do things that to make other people do fault? Why? Do you need that? You don't need that. It's an hara. Baruch Hashem, Hashem give you a natural beauty. Keep it. You can put a little bit of makeup. Why too much? Why you destroy the natural face that Hashem give you? Unfortunately, in the end, this woman, she got divorced for somebody else. Unfortunately. Sometimes this is the problem. Hashem give you beauty for you, for your husband. You don't need that people to show people. You don't need all that. You don't need all that. I mean, I will not tell you hide yourself, but as a Jewish woman, you have to be tzniut. You understand? That is the compliment that the Torah give to Sarah Imenu. That she had to live with her beauty, with her natural beauty, and she used it only to attract people, to teach them there is Hashem. She did not use her beauty to show it to people, just for compliments. That would give her to be a prophet. When Hashem saw that Sarai Menu, she did not use her beauty for her own things, for her own interest, so that people would give her compliment. She used it only to attract people to be at the service of Hashem, because they used to come to her house to look at her beauty, and so she used, and she used to tell them, this beauty that you see is from Hashem, it's not from me, I'm nothing. So she had the merit, the zichut, to be what she was. So how can you answer the question that from the same beauty that she had when she was 7, the same beauty she had when she was 20. When you are 20, it's a real beauty. But when you are 7, it's a beauty of a baby. It's not the same. But the answer is that Sarai Menu, she was a natural beautiful. Even when she was 7 years old, she was a really beautiful. And the same way that when she started to get compliment when she was 7 years old, the same compliment that she was receiving, that she was beautiful when she was 7 years old, the same compliment she received when she was 20 years old. And all the time, she used it only for Hashem. When she started to hear people telling her, oh, tu es belle, oh, you're beautiful, when she was 7, when she started to know that people realize that she's beautiful, she used to tell them, that's from Hashem. It's not my own beauty. It's Hashem who give me that beauty. And if a face can be beautiful, that Hashem can make a face like that, so who is Hashem? How much Hashem he can be? What Hashem? So we have to say thank you to Hashem. That's the way Sarai Menu, she was acting. Now you understand what Abraham lost when Sarah passed away. Now you understand how much it was terrible for Abraham to lose a kind of wife like this. My friend, just now you understand. My friend, I would like to wish you a good week, Be'ezat Hashem. And I pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give you bracha, be'atzlacha, b'riut, and a good week, Be'ezat Hashem. And Be'ezat Hashem, how much can we learn from Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, and Be'ezat Hashem? We hope one day, Be'ezat Hashem, Be'ezat Hashem, that we reach even a little bit of the greatness of Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel. I wish you all the best. God bless you and take care. Shavua Tov, Mazal Tov.